Colt's Dragoon revolvers were the descendants of the famous model 1847 Colt Walker. These Dragoon revolvers spread across multiple models are the massive Colt horse pistols of the 1850s. But what we've got is a gun that was made from parts that were manufactured at the Hartford factory that was then assembled and finished at Colt's London factory. So if you take a look at this beautiful revolver, you can see it's got very English style scroll engraving. If you compared this to the Gustav Jung masterpieces that were engraved in the United States at the same time period, those have a very Germanic style to the engraving, whereas this revolver has more floral elements. The scroll work is a more tighter curl. It's very English. It's a very English design. And Colt was trying to break into the English firearms market, but then he ran up against competition as the English introduced their own firearms designs and preferred their own firearms designs. While there was around 700 of these Hartford-English Dragoons manufactured, around 200 of these revolvers actually came back to the United States and were used in the American Civil War. So if you take a look at this gun, I mentioned that 200 of these Hartford-English Dragoons came back and were primarily used in the American Civil War. This gun definitely has the look of a revolver that would have been used in the American Civil War. It's still in really nice condition, but it's what we call a gray gun. The finish is basically all gone, but it's got this nice gray patina on it. The engraving is still nice and crisp. Most of the markings are still nice and crisp. And if you take a look at it, it's got, like I said, very classic English style engraving here that you'd expect to find on like a high-end English shotgun of the time period. But when you come back here to the grip, this really sets this gun apart. Carved grips on percussion Colts are already incredibly rare. And one of the things that's very cool about carved grips on these Colts are they tend to be relatively unique. Some of them will have similar-ish patterns, but they're all a little bit different. And this particular design is not one I've seen on another Colt, let alone another Dragoon revolver. So what this gun has is it's got a large single star here on the side of the grip. Curled up in the center of the star is a rattlesnake, and then on the points around the star it says, "Don't tread on me." So as some of you are probably familiar, the "Don't tread on me" slogan goes back to the American Revolution, and a lot of Southerners during the American Civil War considered the Civil War to be like their war of independence from the United States. So they adopted a lot of the symbols and slogans of the American Revolution into their propaganda, into their war effort. So with this design being a lone star here in the center, people have naturally kind of gravitated towards this gun being from the Lone Star state of Texas, which makes sense, and this gun was actually featured in the Texas Gun Collector back in 1955. It should also be considered, for others in the South, that there are other states in the Confederacy that had a single star as part of their state flag at the time, so it's possible it was from another Confederate state. If you look at the grip again, there's two deep cuts right here, almost like somebody used this revolver when they were like parrying a blow from a cavalry saber or something. You kind of have to imagine and fill in the blanks there. But the Colt Dragoon revolvers, they call them horse pistols for a reason. These guns are heavy, they're big. You wouldn't want to carry this one on a belt probably. You'd be more likely to carry a 60 Army or Colt 51 Navy on your belt. These were meant to be carried on your pommel holsters across your saddle. One of the things that comes to mind is there were regiments like Terry's Texas Rangers that required enlisting cavalrymen to bring a Colt revolver as part of their gear. And this gun would definitely fit the bill for a Texas Ranger fighting in the Civil War. And it's a beautiful example of an already very rare model. There was only 700 of these Hartford-English Dragoons. It's a beautiful piece, lots of really interesting details on it, and a very solid and attractive example of the very rare Hartford-English Dragoon. And this one's going to be available in our upcoming Premier Firearms auction.